Your routines should serve you well, and your routines aren't cement. Okay, your routines are like icing on a cake. That's actually a great example. Icing on a cake doesn't usually get hard unless we're talking about fondant. But if you're talking about nice cream cheese icing or whipped cream icing, you're talking about icing that you can run your finger through and you can reshape it as you need to reshape it, right? That's how these routines should be. There are things that are going to come up in life, and you're going to have to kind of bend and flex a little bit with it. But that doesn't mean sacrificing the entire routine.
Welcome to the Ask Me How I Know show. I'm your host, Julie Holly, and I'm so excited you're here. Ask Me How I Know is the only podcast in the multifamily niche replicating what takes place outside the walls of a seminar. Remember when we used to get together like that? This is like the lobby where honest, unscripted conversations take place and transformation happens. We'll talk about practical problem solving in the multifamily niche as well as overcoming mental roadblocks. This episode is brought to you by 3 Keys Investments. 3 Keys Investments is dedicated to helping people like you, you, enter the multifamily investment space to build passive income and legacy wealth. If you haven't already subscribed and reviewed Ask Me How I Know, I'd be honored if you did. Thanks so much for joining me today. And now for our featured guest.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ask Me How I Know. I am so glad that you are here for this awesome Monday Mindset episode. If you've been listening and tracking along, then you know that this entire month of December, I have been intentionally giving you Monday Mindsets around how to stack everything up so that when January comes, you're not trying to goal set, you're not trying to get the ball rolling, you're already rolling and you're entering 2021 day one, January 1st, with like just a huge power behind you. So today's episode is going to be no different because we are going to be tackling your morning routine. And if we tackle it now, it gives you like a solid week to just settle in. Okay, not an entire week because but it will give you some time to actually start like just baby stepping into that new morning routine. Hey, if you haven't already subscribed and liked and reviewed and done all of those things, I would just ask you to go and do that. Reviewing doesn't take long, but if you're reviewing on Apple iTunes, you have no idea what a gift and treasure that is for me as a podcaster. So please take a moment, if you would, and just pause this or listen and review, but somehow please review and please share. The only way this podcast is going to grow is from listeners like you, my awesome people that are like, this resonates with me. You know people that it's also going to help. So I just ask you to please share it if it resonates with you with someone that you believe it will help. Let's go ahead and dive into the morning routine, the proverbial morning routine, the elusive morning routine, the thing that you don't even think that you can achieve because you're like, I don't know, that just sounds too complicated and like too much work early in the morning. So let's go ahead and go through the top 12 routines. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk you through like the top 12 routines that highly successful people have in general, right? Not probably perfectly across the board, but in general, these are the top 12 routines that high performers have. And then after we do that, I'm actually going to walk you through my morning routine, and that gives you like a practical application. And you're going to see where I find what serves me well and what doesn't, and how I've adjusted and accommodated my morning routine to work for me. Because guess what? The morning routine needs to serve you well. And if it's detracting, it's defeating the purpose, right? Now, there's a difference between if it's detracting or derailing you from your goal, or just something that is uncomfortable and, oh, I'm developing a new habit and I need to make some adjustments. So keep that in mind and do not let yourself off the hook just because it's like, don't confuse the two. Like, your discomfort is different from this is actually distracting me from being more productive. Okay, so yeah, there's no loophole on that one. Okay, you know in your gut which it is for real. All right, so I actually wrote down these top 12 morning routines. I found them on medium.com because it's a succinct list, and I encourage you, they have a lot of really powerful articles there, and I find it a really valuable resource for much of my research and many things that I'm going about in life. So here they are, and I'm going to just like blitz right through them, okay? Number one, take a cold shower. Oh, it just makes me so cold thinking of it. Number two, read empowering affirmations. Number three, seek clarity and calmness. Number four, meditate, which is actually different than number three. Number five, connect with loved ones. Six, avoid checking your smartphone for the first 30 to 60 minutes. Seven, exercise. Eight, set intentions. Nine, read a book. 10, journal your thoughts with gratitudes and goals. 11, work on your priorities. Get an ugly task done right away. And number 12, review long-term goals. Now, I'm going to kind of get into those. I like sometimes the way I am, I kind of want to know, okay, what are the 12? And then now let's go back and let's talk about each of those. Number one, take a cold shower. I can barely even utter those words, okay? Because I run cold. So the idea of taking a cold shower is not invigorating, and it would actually be like it would be defeating the purpose. So a lot of people take these cold showers first thing in the morning. If you do 75 hard, Andy Frisella's program, or if you go with Rob Dial, mindset mentor, with his 30 days in January, they will tell you like you need to take a cold shower every single morning. And the reason I love the reason and the thinking behind it, and that is it's uncomfortable, and you are creating this mindset from within you that you can overcome something, and you're starting your day with this immense like self-control, immense self-will. So you're just like you're bringing up these really good truths to the surface every single morning, and that's how you're launching your day. Now, I don't know about you. Like for me, that's one reason I won't do 75 hard, because I know I won't commit to that single act every single day. And maybe I'll do it just to like kind of spite myself, but take that into consideration. A lot of super high performers, that's what they do. They take a cold shower. Maybe it will serve you well. Maybe you are stronger and tougher than I am. I'm not sure. You can let me know in the comments or send me a message. All right, read empowering affirmations. Significant power behind us. Now, there's also power in a difference between the I am statements and the I will statements. Okay. And this is really like, it seems like, Julie, you're just like getting all prissy over words and you just like words. Well, I do like words a lot, and I am going to be a little bit snotty about this in a nice way. Your brain is actually a scientific thing. Okay. So your brain is actually processing those words. And remember 2 episodes ago when we were talking about some habits, we were talking about the subconscious mind. And I was explaining, remember, your brain does not live in the present moment. Your brain does not, I'm sorry, reverse that. Your brain doesn't have time. It's not like, oh, your brain is in the past or it's in the future. Your brain, your subconscious and everything is living right now, right here, right now. So when you have I will affirmations, it's actually not sending the full message that you want woven into your brain and into your subconscious. And that's why you want to have those I am statements. Okay, so you can read those. I personally choose to write my affirmations out every day. And again, that goes back to that brain connection that I'm really striving for. And the tactile, the sensation, I even use a pencil, because pencils actually have like grip to them, right? When you're writing, you can feel the graphite. My kids get on my case. It's not lead, it's graphite, Mom. So you can actually feel that, tracking on the paper. And all of those are sending these little sensations to your brain and just helping to weave it tighter into your brain. And so that's my personal practice. You can print off affirmations. Some people will just print them off and put them up on a mirror. They'll put them on a door. Some people have cards. So this is something you really need to personalize to yourself. And the I am statements really need to be personalized to you. For instance, if I had an I am statement that said, I am a lover of words. Okay, first of all, that's just like a goofy one anyway. But I mean, it's something that I already resonate with. Okay, that is something that is already part of the fiber of who I am and what I'm about. It's not, I like to look at my affirmations are as areas where I don't fully see the full picture of myself. One of my affirmations says, I'm a woman of integrity who speaks patiently and kindly. Now, the integrity part, I already know that about myself. That's not an issue. But the one part is that patience part. Are my words coming out? The integrity of speaking with patience and with kindness. That's something that I battle and wrestle with. And so I have this I am statement centered around that so that that integrity behind how I am going about utilizing my words is a way that I want to reflect my faith and who I am as a person. So your I am statements, your affirmations, they really need to serve you well and take time. And you don't have to have a laundry list of them. They could just be several. You could change them out. So, this is a nice thing. There's not a box about this at all. So use this practice to serve you super well. All right. So now we're talking about seeking calmness and clarity. That's one reason that I wake up really early in the morning. My house is all sleeping and it's quiet and nobody's coming up to me. The rare mornings when my husband wakes up totally throws me for a loop. And I don't really speak calmly and kindly. It kind of like, whoa, hey, this is my time. Okay. So, anyhow, having that calmness, having that clarity. So, taking time to just have peace around you, to have calmness around you, to be able to clearly think about what it is your day looks like. All of these things are really powerful. Next practice is to meditate. And that means a lot of things to a lot of different people. There's a lot of spirituality in the world in general at this time, in my opinion. And so I'm not sure what meditating is going to look like for you. I'll share what it looks like for me when I run you through what my morning routine is. But it is really important to take time to meditate and to clear your mind and then to fill your mind. So you might even switch some of these practices around. Like these practices aren't in a ABC order. You can mix them around. So personally, I will say I like to clear my mind first thing, and then I like to fill my mind with affirmations. Like that meditation really paves the way for the rest of my time in the morning, but you'll see that as I talk in a few minutes on that. Okay, guys, how many of you wake up and you maybe use, like me, I use my smartphone for my alarm because it's so pretty. I might need to change that practice. But anyhow, how many of you wake up and the first thing you do is you look at your phone? Oh, it's a terrible practice. So I've trained myself now. There is a difference. Like, okay, do you just put like end to the alarm, or do you pick up your phone, click off the alarm, and then start scrolling? Okay. So highly productive people, there's no phone. They're not on their phone checking social media platforms first thing in the morning. That first 30 to 60 minutes of their morning is basically tech-free time. That might be a challenge for some of you. All right, the next practice is to exercise. Exercise gets the blood flowing, and it's really important. Hopefully you've been laying for, I was going to say 6 hours, but I'm like, 6 hours is not enough sleep. You need 7 to 8 hours, and some of you actually need 9 hours of sleep. So after you have been resting for that period of time, you've been sedentary, you're going to get up. You want to get that blood flowing into your body. Okay. That creates energy and momentum for your day. Now, here's a practice that is powerful, and that is yoga. I love yoga. It is a fantastic practice. After my dad died, I was going to yoga classes because I couldn't hop on a treadmill and I couldn't go outside for a run. I couldn't get on my bike. I couldn't do anything like that because I would just be wanting to cry. And it's hard to do cardio when you're crying. So, but I knew that I needed exercise, and that was really what sealed the deal with me and yoga. So if you're thinking that yoga is, just a series of stretches, wow, you need to go to a really good yoga class. So I call yoga an active passive. Okay. You can get an extremely powerful workout in 45 minutes from yoga. And what's amazing about it is that not only are you getting this amazing workout, but you end up feeling so calm at the end. So I highly recommend, especially if adding exercise is new to your morning routine, I highly recommend that you add yoga in as that for initial exercise practice, because you will get a powerful workout. Additionally, it's going to leave you in a calm state. Okay. And you can do it at home, even. It's great. One of my favorite exercise routines, and I have had this DVD, I think it's 20 years old now. So you have to go on probably eBay to find it. But Karen Voigt has a really good yoga flow. It is called Yoga Sculpt. That flow will take you about 40 minutes, and it is fantastic. Even if I'm not doing cardio, my arms are still getting toned, my core is still strong, and I end up feeling absolutely fantastic. So I highly recommend that one. If I can find it online, I will leave a link to it for you. Habit number 8, set intentions. High performers are intentional about everything that they do. They don't just let things happen to them, they direct their lives. And so they set the intention for their day, and they set the calendar for their day. It's pretty simple. Number 9, read a book. Now, I'm not talking about going and reading your favorite fiction novel. I'm not talking about picking up the next, action-packed book or the next romance novel. We're talking about a nonfiction book that is going to help propel your thinking in a whole new way. You would be amazed how many books you can go through in a given year just by reading for 15, 20 minutes, 5 days a week. Just 5 days a week, you can plow through a plethora of books. I am not a fast reader. I'm not a speed reader. Some of you might resonate with this. I have to kind of read that aloud in my head, in a sense. I'm almost like an audiobook in my head, and it makes me a little slower than the average bear, but it helps me internalize what I'm reading and connect with it on a deeper level. So I just don't even fight it anymore. I always highlight and I'm marking in my books. And guess what I was doing this morning? Instead of reading new content, I actually went back to a previous chapter in the book I'm reading and reviewed some of those areas that stood out to me and reflected on them further. So there is a significant value as you're reading to marking up your books and highlighting them and going back to them. Take the time to go back. Just because you're reading in the morning, it doesn't mean you have to be reading something new every single day. It is very worthwhile, especially for your brain, to go back to what you have read and allow your brain to just like go deeper into that same thought. Practice number 10, journal. In your journal, you're going to have gratitudes, you're going to have your thoughts, you're going to have your goals. Okay, journaling is super powerful. I cannot overemphasize the power of gratitude and writing those gratitudes down. It is significant, and it will change the way you look at your day ahead of you just by looking at, what am I really grateful for? It just postures you for an amazing day. And then it also postures your brain to just be looking for the things that are happening that are good. Right now, during this pandemic, a lot of people are overwhelmed by the challenges that they are facing. And that act of gratitude, it redirects our focus and allows us to approach what is before us in a different perspective. We come with a different energy to it, and we'll probably have more effective results. Habit number 11, get that ugly task done. Okay, be productive. So a lot of high performers, they will tackle one task that is one of those, it's all quiet in the house right now, I can get this done, and this will start my day on a snowball of success. So taking that time to find that task, that nagging one that you really don't want to do, just knock it out. And guess what? That just is rocket fuel for your entire day. You know it's done. And now you can dedicate all of your time, your mental energy, everything into the other tasks that lie before you. Habit number 12, review those long-term goals. Now, as you know from previous episodes this month, as I talk about habits, I have not been a significant goal setter in the past. This is the first year I've really been intentional in the month of December to work and craft the goals and to shape the year ahead of me. I've never looked at the entire year ahead of me and crafted it out so well. And I'm saying I did it so well. We'll see how that goes. No, not we'll see how it goes. It's going to go great. But I've never done that. It's a new practice for me. But I know the power of reviewing those goals every single day is going to be important for me. So, in fact, today, I hadn't actually, let me go back. I hadn't actually finalized my goals. So, for about the last 3 weeks, I've been just touching up, adding further clarity, adding further tactics to my goals. I've been working on my goals and just massaging them ever so slightly, which means I'm interacting with them and I'm thinking about them and I'm letting my subconscious think about that, right? And then I'm coming back to them and reworking them. By starting my goal process at the beginning of the month, well, actually the end of November, it's allowed me time to really percolate and get those goals shaped how I know that I can be behind them. I know I can be successful. I've had time to think about the strategies and tactics behind them. But if I do that and I never revisit those goals, I'm going to forget. I'm forgetful. In all reality, you're going to forget as well. So last night, I added dates and deadlines to most of my goals, the ones where that was appropriate to do so. I printed them off and I added I know I'm so old school. I folded it in half and I stuck it in my high performance planner. Okay, that's exactly what I did. But I know that even this morning as I was working, I'm glad I had printed them off because I needed to see that goal. I was looking at my longer term goals and I'm thinking, what do I really need to make sure I'm working on this week so that I'm prepared to meet my goal next month and the next month, right? So having those goals printed off is actually really valuable. I know I'm old school. I don't think of 2 pages of is going to wreck the forest. Here are a couple other elements that are common denominators with highly successful people. One of these is going to fall into the cold shower category for a lot of you awesome listeners, okay? And that is wake up early. Like high achievers, they wake up really early. I didn't know that this was such a common denominator. I thought that I was just being ridiculous by waking up at the time I wake up. I'll tell you about that shortly. But waking up early is a super powerful part of starting your day. And I cannot overemphasize, by the time the rest of the world is just launching their day, high performers, they've already conquered and crushed this huge part of their goals early in the morning. It's amazing. And once you get in the habit of it, you'll never want to go back. So waking up at 5:30, that's not that bad, you guys. 5:30, 5 o'clock, 4:30, 4 o'clock, waking up somewhere in that time frame. If you're already doing it, you're up there with those who are highly successful. If you're not, and you're like, oh my goodness, there is no way I can do that. I was like you. I thought anything before 6 in the morning is an ungodly hour. I will never do it. And then at some point, I think I was going to an early morning spin class. And so I needed to wake up at 5:30 in order to get there on time for the 6 o'clock class. So guess what? I did it. I sucked it up. I got up at 5:30. I'm like, oh, I can do that. That works. And then guess what happened? I wanted to add something else to my routine. So I woke up at 5 o'clock. Okay, so you can do these incremental baby steps. If you are feeling like this waking up early in the morning is equivalent to me taking a cold shower, which just freaks me out, it would be so cold. I just want to encourage you, just bump that up 15 minutes. So if you're waking up at 6:30 right now, then just wake up at 6:15 or 6 o'clock. Okay, and fill that time in a meaningful way. When you fill it in a meaningful way, then you're actually feeding yourself and saying like, hey, this is important to me, and you're going to reap these rewards, and you're going to enjoy that habit. Like, you might not like it, but you're going to like the results of it enough to where it will keep you engaged and wanting to come back and to waking up early the next day. Another denominator to keep in mind is your perspective. I was doing this even last night, and that is, if I were, now this sounds so morbid, but if I were to die, would these things really matter? Am I leaving the legacy that I want? Am I interacting with the people I love the most in a way that that if I left them now, if God took me home, that it would be okay? Are the tasks that I'm engaged in, are they actually meaningful tasks? This is really, really powerful. One way of saying, another way of asking yourself this question is this, if you find yourself doing tasks that you are not resonating with, then I highly recommend, that's a way to just realize this task isn't a priority of mine. I need to get it off my plate. There is so much freedom in doing this. I remember learning this very well after my dad, he dropped dead. And after that happened, I realized like all the world froze for me. I mean, life was going on for everyone else. Everything else froze. And I realized certain things didn't really matter. And so I didn't even invite those things back into my life. And, I keep tabs on this regularly. In fact, I recently resigned from a commitment, and I said, well, I need to resign from this commitment. It's really important to keep track of where you're spending your time, and is it serving you well? Are you able to achieve something of meaning and substance in what you're doing? Now, guess what? We all have to do some of the mundane tasks. We all need to, do our laundry and, clean the toilet, vacuum the floors. Like, there are all these tasks that actually do need to get done. Okay. So you can't X those tasks out. Those are just being diligent and responsible tasks. But I'm talking about some of those commitments that you've made, maybe in leadership, maybe to be on a board, maybe you're spending a lot of time doing volunteer work for multiple organizations. Maybe it's, this is meaningful and this is important, but I'm going to focus and zero in on the single group and pour into that. And that's going to allow me to have more clarity in my mind, more freedom with my time to do these other things that are of meaning and importance to me. And those are the 12 habits with a couple of bonus for the common denominators. And now I thought, sometimes we hear all this talk about a morning routine, and then we wonder, like, how do people actually practically apply this into their life? And so I'm going to have one of those vulnerable moments, and I'm going to invite you into my morning and let you know just like the cadence and the rhythm of my morning. And it's not because I'm right and I have it figured out and this is how everyone should do it. It's because sometimes when we have an example, we can see ourselves in parts of it, and we can say, oh, I could do that, or oh, that's another way I can do that. Maybe I could tweak that. Okay. So this is just like scaffolding so that you can stack everything that will serve you super well. All right. So I do wake up on most mornings at 4 a.m. I say most mornings because recently I've had a head cold, and with everything going around, I've chosen to be responsible. I've chosen to stay at home, to not work out. So recently, the last couple of weeks, my morning routine hasn't been exactly the way it normally is. So, and I'm sharing that with you because I want you to understand, again, your routines should serve you well, and your routines aren't cement. Okay. Your routines are like icing on a cake. That's actually a great example. Icing on a cake doesn't usually get hard unless we're talking about fondant. But if you're talking about nice cream cheese icing or whipped cream icing, you're talking about icing that you can run your finger through and you can reshape it as you need to reshape it, right? That's how these routines should be. There are things that are going to come up in life, and you're going to have to kind of bend and flex a little bit with it. But that doesn't mean sacrificing the entire routine. All right, so when life is normal, I wake up at 4 in the morning, and the first thing I do is going to freak so many of you out. The first thing I do when my alarm goes off is I hit snooze. Okay, so many of you are already like, Julie, you've completely discredited yourself. I cannot believe you hit snooze. I know I do hit snooze, but I don't go back to sleep. That's the difference. So I hit snooze and I go back in bed and I actually snuggle my husband and I pray. That's my time where I say, thank you, Lord, for this breath, for the gift of life. Help me to serve you well and live this day well. My first time in the morning on that snooze is not sleeping, but it's really setting my intentions for me in a vertical alignment with God. I love God. I want to honor God. And that's how I choose to start my day. When the alarm goes off the second time, it's up and at 'em. I hop up and I head into my living room, grab a blanket because it's always chilly in North Idaho. Grab a blanket, snuggle up. And first book I grab is my Bible. And the night before, I usually make sure everything is situated because I don't want a piece to be missing. The couple of times that's happened, it's really thrown my game and it's frustrating, and I don't want to start my day in frustration. So I have my Bible there on the side table. I grab it and I'm usually reading through a book of the Bible or Proverbs or something. That's how I choose to fill my mind first thing. Then I grab a journal. And in that journal, I write down a verse that stood out to me. Maybe that's a verse that's going to encourage and inspire me for the day, or just provide a really sturdy reminder for how I want to live my life. After I do that, I write 3 gratitudes. I should go on maybe with more gratitudes. I think we should all be more grateful, but 3 gratitudes is what I do. And that just keeps that practice as a daily practice. I know I'm going to be doing it. And as I'm going about my day or think, it just helps the intentions of my thinking and my focus. After I write those, right below that, so this is all on the same page, I write down my affirmations. I have 10 affirmations, and I've been writing the same affirmations with subtle changes, tweaks to them for the last year and a half or so. It's been really powerful. Some people don't find value in writing them personally. I've already explained earlier, I do find value in writing them out, even though it's like the exact same thing. Obviously, I really need that etched into my brain, and I'm willing to do that. It doesn't take too long. The next part is that I write down one intention, and I just write, today I will, and honestly, today when I'm recording, this morning I wrote, I will be caring. I just want to make sure that I am being caring and nurturing towards my family. That's really important to me. But setting that intention just puts that right into my brain so that all day long I am having that focus just in the idle moments. It's there, and that's really important to me. All right. The next thing I do, I'm going to pull out a book, whatever book I'm reading, and I'm going to read. And that might be 15 to 20 minutes that I get to read. And that's actually the bulk of my time right there. The previous activities probably take me 15, 20 minutes, and then I get to read for 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, I'm getting my husband up and we're heading off to the gym. If you are looking for a fun way to exercise in the morning, my husband was not a gym person. He was not a morning person. He was an anti-morning, but he wasn't an early morning person. But he joined me at the gym, and now it's a practice for both of us that's really great. If you have a spouse or partner that you can go work out with, for us, that drive to the gym, not every time, but oftentimes we get to have conversation because we're still waking up, right? But you have that conversation to and from the gym, and that's really powerful, sweet time that you get to enjoy together. After the gym, I am absolutely positively spoiled. And this is where some of you are going to be like, oh gosh, Julie, you're so spoiled. But I admit I'm completely spoiled. When we return from the gym, my husband stacks my day in my favor every single morning. I go in and I get cleaned up and get ready for my day. And when I say get ready, it is head to toe ready. I could walk out that door. When I'm done, it is my shoes are on my feet. I am done. I am ready. Okay, to me that's really important. I don't want to have another distraction in my day, and so I just want to make sure I'm ready, head to toe ready. So my daughter is really cute, and she said recently she saw a shirt and it said no hair no makeup day, and she's like, Mom, you need a no hair no makeup day. So we did that recently, just because it made her happy. But I'm more comfortable just keeping that routine. Just wake up, get ready, I'm done. Now, for you ladies out there, I'm going to encourage you with this. I know this is going to sound silly to all my gentlemen listeners out there, but for you ladies out there, I want you to know, yeah, I put makeup on every single morning. But because I am very simplistic in my practices, if you're on YouTube, you can tell I'm very simple. And so, anyway, with that practice, if you have that same routine every single time, I literally put the little makeup stuff in the exact same spot. I put everything in the exact same spot. I do things in the exact same way. And it literally takes me 7 minutes maybe to throw some makeup on my face. So I'm not investing a ton of time. Also, another hack for you ladies is I don't wash my hair every day. I don't ever start my day with wet hair because that just slows traction down all the way. And so that's a hack. I mean, getting ready to me should take no more than 30 minutes and sometimes less. So craft your routine in a way where it's not a super time consuming routine. I believe that I should be able to be up, ready, out the door type ready within 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Everything, shower included, like get in, get out, get it done. All right. Meanwhile, this is where I'm spoiled while I'm getting ready. My husband, he makes a fire for our family and he makes coffee for our family. And I'm where I live in North Idaho, and we have no central heat in our home. We use a fire to heat our home. So having that fire every day is like 75% of the year is actually very valuable. All right. So he's making the fire. He makes coffee. A lot of times he will actually make me a breakfast that's so delicious. So that's where I'm completely spoiled, because a lot of you will need to take care of, making your own coffee and things like that. So find the hacks in your morning that are going to launch your day in a powerful way, right? If that means getting the coffee set up the night before, if you're a coffee drinker, then get it set up the night before. But figure out the little hacks that are going to create that finesse for you in the morning, because it's absolutely powerful. And the last part of the morning is that connection. And that is my kids, they come down, they wake up, they're down, and we're having this time as a family. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to paint a picture of like, oh yeah, Mary Poppins, like we're all just sitting there as a family and just enjoying happy times. Yes, it is happy. Yes, it is a very sweet time. We're all kind of a little bit busy getting, whatever it is that we're making for ourselves for breakfast. Because I do believe I want my kids to be independent. I want them to know how to care for themselves. So they do make their own breakfasts. And I love that they can make themselves eggs and some healthy foods. It's really important to understand those things in life and how to care for yourself. All that to say, it's simply nice to wake up and, be able to give those snuggles and hugs, to, talk about what did you dream about, so there's that time where we can actually connect. And as a family, before our day explodes before us, we have that time. Super important to me. And that's one of those habits of connection that is really important for our families as well. If this is a new practice to you, it's nice to have a framework to begin with, because it's new to you and it's foreign and you're trying to figure it out. So there is a lot of value in picking up a book like Hal Erod's Miracle Morning. That can really serve you well. I gave you my example as another, like, it's not how you have to do it, but here's what works for me. And I will tell you, let me tell you this. It has taken me, I'm thinking, it's taken me a number of years to hone my morning routine. And so I want you to look at your morning routine as a work in progress. You are growing and changing as a human being. You should be. And your routine is going to mirror that growth and that change. At one point, I was waking up at 3:30 in the morning, and it wasn't forever. And I told myself, this is a short-term commitment to reach your long-term goals. I was still working a W-2 job. As a classroom teacher, I had to be up super early. And so, I had to be at work by 7:30 and things like that. So I ended up waking up at 3:30 in order to go for the goals that I wanted so that I wouldn't need to be doing that. So for you, you might consider making a short-term commitment that's painful, because waking up that early was painful. And let me be clear, I also go to bed early. So there isn't any secret sauce here. I still get my hours of sleep because I have to have my sleep. But that short-term commitment allowed me to reach some important goals that I had. And then I was able to come back to a little bit later of a wake up time, and it felt great. And I never want to wake up at 3:30 again. But that was basically like a cold shower, right? Like, okay, I can do this. So I know if I needed to, I can do that. But that's not what I want to do. And it doesn't serve me really well. Definitely not something that I could do for a long term. Okay. So as I said, and then I got off on a tangent, I'm sorry. I'd love to hear what your routines are. I'd love to see how they've flexed over the years that you've been developing them. And if you're new to developing morning routines, I'm dropping a link to Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. There are other books out there. I just know so many people that have used this, and it's been a powerful tool in their life. And remember, a tool is meant to help you, right? So it's just the beginning of something in your hand to help sculpt what is going to work really well for you ultimately in the long run. Thank you so much for listening to this episode on, fine-tuning your morning routine. I hope that it served you well, and I would absolutely appreciate it if you would share it with someone else, one or two people today, to help them get a jump start on their 2021 and achieving the dreams and goals that they have for their life. All right, until next time, please go find your freedom.
Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Ask Me How I Know. This episode was brought to you by 3 Keys Investments. They are dedicated to helping people like you, you, my awesome listeners, develop passive income and legacy wealth through multifamily investing. Feel free to check out their website, 3keysinvestments.com, to see if there's an offering that will help your portfolio grow and meet all of your needs. If you haven't already rated, reviewed, subscribed, liked, all of those bells and whistles, I would be absolutely honored if you would do that for Ask Me How I Know. Thanks again, and go make it a great day.